Yesterday, my 52-year-old boyfriend of 30 years proposed to me after dinner. He walked towards me holding a box and said to open it. Inside was a ring, and although I had pictured this moment a million times, I never thought I'd feel so apathetic. He then expressed his desire to enjoy life with me as his wife now that he's retired. It was a nice speech, but for the past 5 years, I had made my deep desire to marry clear, only to be consistently dismissed with empty promises and gaslight. We had been through therapy, and one counselor implied that my efforts to get him on the couch meant nothing if his mind was already made up. We have 4 kids, 3 of whom are adults, and the youngest is a teen female. She was sleeping over elsewhere when this happened. Our kids attended a private school where I endured jabs from PTA moms about not sharing a last name with my kids. The preteen years were especially tough, with other kids taunting mine about their dad not marrying me. My boyfriend's mom would tell him marriage would be selfish on my part, reducing it to just a piece of paper. He rose in the ranks until he became an executive, while I was a stay-at-home mom, feeling the constant power imbalance and uncertainty about my future. Despite wanting the best life for my kids and feeling proud to be with him, I also loved him. However, his career took a downturn, making enemies in 2020, and he decided to step back, living off his investments now. I didn't like how his career ended or how he treated people, and I had been contemplating leaving and finding someone else after our youngest turned 18. The proposal was a shock, considering my recent avoidance of conversations about the future. He talks about downsizing our house so we can travel, but I'm left wondering if he noticed my hesitancy. We've been tightening our belts, cutting back on expenses, but since we're not married, it's his finances and property. Still, he caught my eye roll and took offense. When he questioned me, I expressed my sudden discomfort with his newfound interest in marriage now that he's downsizing. His reaction was anger, accusing me of disrespecting our relationship and even insinuating I'm a gold digger. Furious, I left, contemplating whether I even understand respect anymore. Am I wrong for reacting to my boyfriend's proposal this way? After 25 years of me pleading? What did he expect? And to label you a gold digger after all these years? Having children together without any shared assets, both of you are in the wrong. He for not committing despite your long history and you for enduring this situation. There must be a reason he resisted marriage before, and now his sudden interest makes me wary. Perhaps he's seeking care in his old age or trying to address debts. It's possible original poster isn't in a common law state, which may explain his reluctance to marry. But regardless, it seems unfair that she's sacrificed her career and financial security without any claim to assets or benefits in her name. The dynamics of this relationship raise several red flags. It's concerning that after 25 years, the issue of marriage only arises when he's downsizing and transitioning out of his executive role. It begs the question of whether his sudden interest in marriage is motivated by genuine commitment or by other factors, such as financial security or convenience. The fact that he reacted defensively and accused original poster of being a gold digger further complicates matters. It suggests underlying tensions and distrust within the relationship that need to be addressed. Furthermore, the imbalance of power and financial autonomy in the relationship is troubling. Despite being together for a quarter of a century and raising children together, original poster finds herself in a vulnerable position with no ownership of assets or financial security of her own. This highlights the importance of financial independence and equitable distribution of resources within a partnership, regardless of marital status. Moving forward, original poster needs to have open and honest conversations with her partner about their relationship dynamics, expectations, and concerns. It's essential to address underlying issues such as trust, respect, and financial equality to determine the future of their relationship. Seeking professional guidance or counseling may also be beneficial in navigating these complex dynamics and finding a resolution that is fair and mutually satisfying for both parties. She's probably not listed on his retirement account either. She has no choice but to accept the marriage proposal, assuming that the boyfriend still wants to marry her. Otherwise, she'll be homeless, working her entire life until the day she dies. I want to feel sorry for her, but she played herself 100%. This dude is trash, but she acted like the dumpster smelled like roses. I hope it all works out for her in the end. Lady, consult a divorce lawyer ASAP to find out where you currently stand and whether the 25 years you've invested in this relationship have entitled you to any assets or financial support. They can advise you on the best next steps if you're serious about ending this relationship. Ensure you go about it as best as possible. You might need to briefly marry him. Good luck. I own 2 homes. The one I live in is in a nice area, and I plan on dying there. The second one was my mother's, and it needed work, but it's a very nice home. I clarified that I would reward the kids if they helped me fix it. I have 1 daughter and 2 sons. I truly thought my sons would help, but they didn't, even when I asked. On the other hand, my daughter went full force into fixing the home. At one point, I just gave her the keys and told her I trusted her. The whole thing helped us bond more than ever, and she learned a ton of skills. She tossed herself into this project to distract herself from her ex. It took about 1 year of work each weekend, and the home is looking great. Initially, I was going to sell and give everyone who helped the money from the sale, but she's the only one who helped. I know she was looking for a house, and this spot is almost perfect, close to work, in a good area, and not far from her friends and family. I decided to give her the home. I called her and had all the paperwork. She was excited and happy. Now I'm getting crap from my sons about giving her a home. I clarified that they didn't help. So why would they get anything from that house? They have both called me a jerk, that I'm a jerk for giving her a $700,000 home, and that they got nothing at all. Edit. 1 son is married, 1 is single. My daughter was in the process of a divorce, and no one has kids. Not the idiot. Buy your sons a copy of the Little Red Hen book. You are very clear. Whoever helps will be rewarded. Your sons didn't help, your daughter did, and it sounds like she put a ton of effort into it as well. As far as I'm concerned, she earned that home. Work hard, be rewarded, do nothing, get nothing. Your sons should understand that now, so it's also a good parenting lesson. How much do you want to bet that Opie's son saw that their sister was doing all the work and thought, great, she's turned this undesirable task into her project, so all we have to do is sit back and wait for her to be done, and then mom will sell, and we'll get money. Sorry boys, you snooze, you lose. You are the idiot. Rewarding your daughter for her effort is necessary, but giving her $700,000 worth of property is quite generous. Your sons might have other things going on that prevent them from investing that amount of time or energy into your house. And even if they deliberately chose not to be involved, rewarding your daughter with a house might send a specific message to your other sons about who among the children you favor. This is not just a little allowance money. It's part of your inheritance. You send a strong message about your feelings towards your other children by denying this to them. My in-laws coaxed my brother into playing poker with them a few nights ago, but they forgot to tell him they're all notorious cheats. So obviously, my brother lost the first game, and they goaded him so that he would continue playing. By the night's end, he owed my brother-in-law around £5,000, which isn't the type of money my brother can just easily hand over. When I saw my brother, he looked like he was on the verge of a panic attack. After I forced him to tell me what happened, I confronted my brother-in-law, who thought the entire thing was just some harmless fun. I explained to him that my brother didn't just have $5,000 lying around, and since it was just some harmless fun, he should forget about it. But he wasn't willing to do that and insisted my brother owed him. He told me not to get involved and suggested my parents should pay if my brother couldn't afford to, even though he knows they can't afford to. I could see he wasn't going to drop it, so I told him to ask my husband for the money. But he didn't like that idea, as he wanted my brother to pay him since a man should pay his debts. I told him he was being ridiculous, since my brother is a broke 19-year-old, and he was scamming a kid. I know my brother did technically gamble away $5,000 like a massive idiot, but I think expecting him to give the money is ridiculous when my brother-in-law knows he and the rest of his family were cheating. He still hasn't dropped it and is trying to get the money out of my brother. I'm half tempted to ask my husband to either speak to him or give him the money if speaking doesn't help because my brother is having a fit over this. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. First of all, involving your husband is key. It's his brother. Brother-in-law probably doesn't want to go to your husband because he knows your husband would laugh in his face and then get mad. He's harassing his wife's family, and your husband should intervene. Whether he pays it or not, A real man doesn't let his wife's little brother get robbed. Scare them, tell them that your parents will happily pay the money once they produce a gambling license and paperwork to show that your brother entered into a legitimate game where he is legally responsible for paying any losses. If they don't have one, then you will be happy to contact the police and get advice on the ramifications of harassing a vulnerable adult under 21. Where did you study law? Because you just made up a bunch of crap. If they were cheating, he didn't lose, he was cheated. Your brother is a damn idiot, but that's to be expected from a 19-year-old. Tell your brother-in-law that he can pound sand, he's not getting crap. And tell your younger brother not to gamble for anything more than the quarters in his pocket. So here's the lowdown. My 28-year-old fiancé and I, 27, met during our sophomore year of college and started dating post-graduation. We've been together for 2 years. My fiancé wasn't close with his family growing up at all. In the 2 years we've been dating, I've only met his parents 3 times. That doesn't bother me. Like I said, he has a lot of resentment due to his upbringing and just doesn't particularly like spending much time with them. Nothing terrible happened to him on their part, but outside of his basic needs being taken care of, there was little emotional support. My fiancé was given a terminal diagnosis a few months ago with a 2-year life expectancy. Treatments are not an option, so we're just living life to the fullest. After he learned of his illness, he and his family have gotten a bit closer in that they see each other more often. His family, very, very wealthy, gifted us our honeymoon as our wedding gift. My husband and I chose a relaxing resort vacation and to go snorkeling together, one last bougie trip for our bucket list. But his parents also chose the honeymoon dates without asking us. So they decided to book the trip so that his birthday was during it. Then they said that they wanted to spend his last birthday with him, so they will also join us. They got their own suite at the resort, and both of his siblings got rooms there too. I'm really grateful they're gifting us this experience, but I'm annoyed they deliberately made it so they could conveniently join our honeymoon. I know he's sick, and I know they want to spend time with him. My fiancé also won't say anything to them because he doesn't want to have to fight with anyone during his final time here. I understand their perspective, but I wish they could have booked a separate trip for the family to go on rather than during our honeymoon, a time that we could have spent together alone, which honestly, we rarely get these days between hospital visits, seeing friends, and checking off things he wants to experience. We're pretty busy. As I mentioned earlier, money is not an issue and could easily have been made into a separate trip, but they chose to make the trip during his birthday so they had the excuse to join in. When they told us they were also coming on the trip, I said that was a little strange. Now they're mad at me for not understanding how important it is for them to spend my fiancé's birthday with him. The entire family thinks that I'm wrong for being upset about this. His parents have said I will barely see them, so I shouldn't be upset. But we're all staying at the same resort with rooms right next to each other. Am I the idiot for telling my in-laws it's weird that they're coming on my honeymoon with us? I'm sorry to hear about your partner's diagnosis. That said, if your partner's family is paying for the trip, you don't get to dictate the terms of the trip, as with any other gift. I get wanting an actual honeymoon trip, but again, it doesn't have to be this trip, so I wouldn't push that point. Hopefully, you can all give each other some grace in a really sad circumstance. Call it his birthday trip, book a honeymoon somewhere else before or after this trip, and pick something you can pay for yourselves. He's terminally ill. There's no guarantee of how much time he will have left, particularly how much time outside of a hospital he will have left. He could not have the physical ability and stamina for a real family-free honeymoon after this one. What does your fiancé want? If he wants them there, I'm sorry, Opie, but the man who is dying gets the final say. No idiots here. This situation is not the typical honeymoon situation. I think it's understandable that you're annoyed, but it's also understandable that his family would want to make some great memories with him before they lose him. The worst thing that could happen would be for your husband to have to witness you and his family fight over him, and how distressing that would be for him. Those aren't the kind of memories anybody wants to be making. I wish you and your fiancé the best. I, 24, got my own place last year. More recently, my stepsister, 24, moved in with me. It's been great having her here. We get along great. She pulls her own weight, and living alone could be pretty depressing sometimes, so that helps. I don't have any rules here for her since I want her to treat it like her house too. None of that my house. My rules crap. A lot of people play. I hate it. Last weekend, she had a guy over. Our other sister, a teen, video called us. We video call every night or two and heard someone over and must have told our parents after the call because my mom mentioned us having guys over and how that's dangerous the last time I saw her. Now my mom, dad, and brother, 22, are calling and texting, nagging me not to allow my stepsister to have guys over. I basically only texted back, get lost. She's an adult and can have whoever she wants over her own house. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'm 24. If my parents tried telling me what to do in my house, I'd simply laugh. They can cry about it in their own house. It's controlling, overbearing, and weird. Seems like there's a reason she lives with you. Given that context, I'm not even mad at the language you used. The irony here is that they probably wouldn't care if you had girls over, but your stepsister of the exact same age is to be protected and shielded from the very same behaviors. It's super archaic thinking, and honestly, it's nice that you went up to bat for her. I get that your family sounds close and all, but your siblings need to back off. There's no reason why everyone in the family should stick their nose in your stepsister's love life, especially if they wouldn't do it for other family members. I assume your parents can't handle the idea of stepsister dating or think it's a bad influence on your younger sister. Your little sis is a teen. She can't have boys over because her mommy and daddy won't let her. The only thing that I will add is not to blame your younger sister. Sure, it would have been better if she didn't say anything, but she's young and probably thought she was doing the right thing, even if it ended up with all this drama.